Okay, we're starting on the what you call the oscillating block. Got a piece of metal checked up here. It needs to be 2 3/8, I believe. A little under. And so I had this 1 3/4. I think it was at one time a 3-inch. Yep. Already made one pass here. Be our final cut here. This dimension is irrelevant, so to speak. Here's the chips we're throwing off of that thing. I'm going a little bit bigger than what it says here. Probably could have went all the way down to 2 inches and been just fine. Okay, I need to face that off and get set up to need to bore that out to 1 3/8. Alright, so we got to go in there so far 5.5 inches or a little better to make sure we're past the, that's where we want to part it off, is at 5.5. Started with a little screw machine drill. Went in there as far as I could go with that. And then we pulled out our aircraft bit here and went in there until we started having to kept plugging up with chips. And that's the problem with going in this deep. You're in, then you're out. You're in, then you're out. So what I do is when I started having trouble with this, I switched to the 3/4 inch and I ran that in there, and then now I'm going back in with the 1/2 inch to go to our full depth, and that cuts the amount of times you got to go in and out at least in half, and just makes the job a lot easier and quicker. Okay, we're approaching our depth here. I got it marked here with the Sharpie on the drill bit. And if you'll notice, we're still kicking. Camera don't want to focus very well. You can see we're still kicking the chips out. If we were a ½ inch all the way in there, we'd never be doing that. See, it still plugs up, but the biggest problem is I slowed it down for the 3/4 inch drill. Okay. The idea here is this piece goes on here. And so if I'm doing this right, took the diameter of this piece. The center of these two holes need to be 1.25 inches. So actually I shouldn't say the diameter, the radius of this plus the radius of this minus the 1.25 inches came out to 1.5 inches. So we got a 2-inch cutter in here. This is 1.9 diameter, so we're close enough. It's going to be welded on there. And we found the center and this leading edge, and we've went in and we've cut a 1-inch depth. So if we take a 1 inch off of here and a ½ inch off of our other piece, we should have our 1.5 inches. So now I need to put this in here, and I'm not sure what I have here to, because this I think is 1 3/8 inches. Yeah, we need to put a 1 3/8 inches groove onto this one so that it matches the bore inside of this tube. Okay, I think we made a decision here. The radius on this is 1 3/4 inches, but I can still bore this piece out if I need to. But I found a piece of 3-inch tubing. There's no seam in it. So we took our 3-inch cutter, and anyway, figured out that we needed to remove 325 thousandths. So we've done that, and then that'll fit right there, and then cut off whatever amount we need and weld it in. So that'll give us a little radius block there. Alright. Now we got this little 45-degree cutter here that appears to be the diameter that we need to make the clearance inside that hole. We're touching there, we're on the center. Okay, I got it. All of our pieces ready, and they got a little bit of cleanup, smooth out a couple of the edges. But, we've got our sleeve on the inside. And we've milled out, just to be extra safe, I went 50 thousandths both ways and about 50 thousandths deeper than what it needed to be. And so there's plenty of room in there to not interfere with our bushing. And then we bored out that piece of tubing, and I probably should have just left it, because when I sliced this thing, man, it was under a lot of pressure. And then when I weld that on, it's going to draw that out, so we're going to end up with a wider radius than I guess what the paper says, but it is what it is. And also that piece wasn't as wide as what the drawing shows, but it's what I've got, and we're going to use it. May have to come in here, you know, that's everything. This is getting so thin here that as this comes out, not a major issue. Could have, you know, braced it, cut pieces on the plasma table, but we'll still come in here with little pieces on both sides here, reinforce that. But we're with it that wide, the whole, or at least 90% of the back is supported against the piece. So okay, let's go to the welder. Okay, we got her welded up and put on there. I just went ahead, and it was just quick to build up that little space in there with weld to secure that. We got way more of a radius than what we were supposed to, but it is what it is. And while that was cooling, went and made a pivot pin. And instead of, I don't know how well this will work, I don't see why it wouldn't, but instead of making a bunch of these pins, you know, if you needed a 1/4 inch diameter or radius up here, that'd be the diameter, but you know, for bending small stuff when you're working on top. You know, they want you to turn a 3/4 inch or leave a 3/4 inch piece here at whatever diameter that you want to bend. And I thought it'd be a lot more universal, so doing it this way. And I guess if it don't work, we'll go back to their design. But I drilled this one for 3/8, and the other side was 1/4 inch. So for 1/4 inch, I don't know, you may, focus, you dumb thing, leave some of those thread marks on. But the idea of the thinking behind this is this one here will go, I could build spacers from 3/8 to 1/2 inch, and then up here on the 3/8 we can go from anything over 1/2 inch, because the head on this is just a little over 1/2. Maybe I can turn it down and use this for 1/2 also. So I guess you'd be limited on where there's no limits on it, and you want one shaft. And for some reason it fits in there just a little bit snug, so we may have to go do a little more polishing on it. Alright, well, till the next part we make. Alright, we got our little wasn't sure what this thing did, but at first, probably one of the most biggest things that caught my eye on these benders, and that is for making a U-bolt. You can make a square U-bolt with this thing. So one of the important dies or accessories, but took a piece of all thread, and we turned down most of the threads on this end, welded it on, and drilled and tapped our little thumb screw here. So it'd be interesting to learn how to do those U-bolts, because they, you know, might be a little quicker than the normal you know, when you break one, at least on the farm machinery, most of the equipment's using square bar, 4-inch, 6-inch, some of it's rectangular. But you break one of those bolts and they're can get kind of expensive. But anyway, normally you just take like a piece of 1/2-inch flat iron, and if you've got a 4-inch tube, and say you're using 1/2-inch bolts, drill your holes at 4.5 inches, make 2 plates, put one on the bottom, top, or however they're oriented, and you run bolts through them instead of the U-bolt. And it just a quick way to get you back on the road, and in some instances it's a lot stronger than the U-bolt. So well, that's one more piece down.